Welcome back folks, my name is LastKnownMeal and today we are going to revisit one of the most underrated RPG games in 2019, Greedfall. It's developed by Spiders, a small French video game developer that previously made Bound by Flame, Technomancer, Mars Warlogs and Of Orcs and Men. Now all of these games share one thing: progress. Even though every game has a nice idea behind it, technical difficulties and somewhat mediocre gameplay didn't catch much attention, but ultimately did create a following of people who knew Spiders is capable of more. Then they reveal Greedfall, and all of a sudden this game clicked. From the first moment I saw the reveal trailer, this game came to my channel. There was something in that baroque style and color palette that caught my attention, and honestly when I go and play it, it's very enjoyable. As this game was published by Focus Home Interactive, they really pushed the marketing of this game, and when it came out it actually had traction, even though it came out 3 days before Borderlands 3. Now what makes this game so good? Well, first of all, you can see the passion behind a small studio that only has 20 employees. This world looks like a giant canvas of so many amazing vistas and scenery that blends really well with the atmosphere of a recently discovered island, Tir and when you also mix in a deadly disease, you have a lot of fun. Now, as you play through Greedfall, you can probably feel that it has been inspired by various other RPG games, which is okay, everyone does that, but what is important here is that Greedfall managed to set itself apart with a very specific feel and atmosphere. Story is well written with a few hiccups along the way, and the ending is somewhat rushed, but I won't be getting into those spoilers in this video. What is important here that you as a legate of New Serene are responsible for finding a cure and helping your cousin Constantine represent the congregation of merchants. And as you do that, you get to talk to various other factions on the island, from crazy fanatics to natives who have a different way of dealing with nature and how they manage to live with nature. And the settlers are here to disturb that, so there is also that war between the settlers and the natives, and you have to decide. You either join one side or you stay neutral. Do you want to plunge the entire island into chaos, or do you want to save it? It's up to you. So then the RPG segment comes in, as you can make your own web of decisions and you have faction points with each and every single group. And as you do stuff for them, as you actually finish those missions, that faction rating can actually go up or down. So your relationship with those factions is going to depend on your decisions, how you handle certain things. So if you go in, kill a bunch of people and call it a day, and if those people were members of the other faction, they're not going to like it. But if you do sneak in and get something, for yourself and for the mission in a stealthy way, and no one sees you, then this faction rank is going to stay intact. And what I also like is, no matter how small the quest, it still helps you in a way. With the main one, you either increase the faction rank so that later on you can have a certain status quo when you negotiate, because diplomacy is a very important part of this game. So this mix of combat and diplomacy is there, and it's quite visible, although my problem with these missions that from time to time they can be repetitive and, well, kinda flat. Especially when you have to sneak in somewhere and you get the same armor, from one faction, so you can blend in, which is really cool. So basically, if you take an armor of, let's say, the Nauts, and you go inside their camp, they're not going to bother you. But if you don't have that, they will attack you or just say you're not welcomed here. So it's your decision how you handle certain things. But sometimes those missions can be the same. You go inside the house, there is no one there, there is no challenge, and it falls kinda short, it's kinda flat. But it's understandable when you think that's, only a small studio worked on this, so they cannot have the scope of the RPGs you got used to, but still, it's only in a couple of missions. The rest of the missions and quests I did are cool. They have their own twists and turns, especially when you do the missions that your companions give you, because you can actually increase the relationship with your companion. But if you do go and attack their faction, because every single companion belongs to a certain faction, if you go and do stuff against that faction, they won't like it, and they might actually become your enemy, so you have to think about that too. And it's also important that your character, even though at first I didn't really like the voice, but now I got used to it and I actually find it really cool. So your character, your companions and other NPCs are actually well-established characters in most of the time, and you will enjoy when you're interacting with them, when they're talking to you, and they have their own certain personality, so they're not just copy and paste of those generic NPCs that just say those lines and that's it. They actually have a persona behind it, a personality. So when everything is blended in so well, it just works, you know. Music, level design, color palette, you know, gives you the same feeling you had when you play those good old RPG games when you were younger, and you know, that's the feeling I got from this, somewhat a nostalgic feeling. Devs also expanded the game with a codex section offering you a lot of lore information for different places, characters, monsters, factions, etc. This is a universe just ready to be expanded, and as you progress through the game, you'll learn many new things that give you a wider perspective of why things are happening and why the old continent is ravaged by this disease. Combat has also been fixed a bit since the launch. They added their own twist to it. I mean, combat feels dynamic, and that's good to actually keep you entertained. They also fixed some camera issues, because when you were fighting before, you know, camera can get all spazzed out and you can get hit really easily and you can get killed easily because enemies here are really goddamn deadly. That's something I enjoy, especially on the highest difficulty. So when you do have camera problems and camera issues, it's not good, it's not entertaining, you just wanna get out of that game. But now it has been fixed and it's actually decent now. I like it. I didn't have those problems right now. But even though combat is dynamic, it still doesn't have many options, and especially I felt that as I was fighting, like, yeah, it's cool, like, you can definitely have fun, but I just wish they added more options, especially combo-wise, and a bit more moves you can do, especially spells, so that it's just, you know, more entertaining. But so far, this is good. Honestly, you won't be disappointed. It's janky, but still fun. And with all the flaws, Greedfall managed to sell really well, because the core idea and execution is good. With only a small team, they managed to create an immersive world that I go back, you know, to from time to time. And exploration is rewarding, and even though the game is not completely open world, I didn't feel claustrophobic, since some level design is really breathtaking, honestly. I also noticed that after it came out, this game kinda lost a decent bit of players. If you look at Steam charts, it had 16,000 on release, and right now it's just under 2,000, which is sad because this is a truly underrated RPG. I think everyone who wants some of that Dragon Age Witcher fix should try it out. And as I said, you can see it's not a huge AAA title, but they still managed to pack a very decent amount of content into one game. They learned from their previous mistakes, they worked on them, and ultimately got a really enjoyable RPG that every RPG fan should try out. And they need more attention, especially now you have a lot of games that are portrayed as RPGs, but it has nothing to do with the genre, and I am definitely looking forward to their future games, because the progress that I see just excites me, because I know their next game is going to push, you know, something to a whole new level, and that's something I'm going to enjoy. And also, I'm just glad that this game is just that, a video game. It's not live service, it doesn't serve you microtransactions or always online bullshit. You just go into the game and you play it. And you feel like you're playing one of those older RPGs that are actually good and decent. And I wish more developers were actually leaning into this, you know, way, and I'm glad that, you know, some of them in 2020 are going to, so that's good. But hey, this is everything I have for today. Don't forget to smash that like and subscribe button. Also, tell me down below what you think about Greedfall, and are you excited for the future of this company? Also, join our growing community on Discord and Twitter. This is LKM signing out, and stay classy, everyone. Bye bye.